Welcome to 247 Sports and CBS Sports. I am national analyst Tom Loy, and we are on today's fourth big commitment here on the 247 Sports YouTube channel. So if you've missed any of it and you don't want to miss anything going forward, please like and subscribe. You are not going to want to miss what we have coming up next. But now it's all about KJ Ford, top 247 edge rusher, one of the top overall players in the class of 2026. Let's dive into the tape. According to national analyst Gabe Brooks, Ford is a well-rounded classic defensive end with sneaky size and length. He possesses great versatility and can contribute all over the defensive front. He shows promising stack and shed power against larger foes. Ford projects as a high-level multi-year starter with long-term pro potential and upside. Let's look at the prospect profile at 247 Sports. He is a 6'3.5", 245-pounder from Duncanville, Texas. He's the number 98 overall player in the 2026 class, the number 11 edge rusher overall, and the number 16 prospect in his home state. How about we look at the recruiting front and who are the finalists down the stretch? His official finalists are Florida, Ohio State, and Texas A&M. However, there have been a few others down the stretch that have continued to talk to him. We have Alabama, USC, and a few others. But without further ado, let's get to the man himself, KJ Ford, one of the top overall players in the 2026 class. KJ, how does it feel to finally be here on commitment day, man?
It feels good, a long process, going to trips, visits, to be able to get to the end,
I know that gym is packed with people, but you got some friends and family there. Introduce a couple people that you have there with you on your special day.
I got my mom, my dad, my whole family from Chicago, friends and family from school, my sister from India.
What I want to ask you before we get into the recruiting process, the announcement, what makes you one of the top players in the country?
Just the work ethic, just be able to rush the passer, just be a well-rounded player.
As you've been going through your process, one that's been going on for about 2 years now, maybe longer, down the stretch, what are some of the traits, what are some of the things you've been looking for in a final school?
Part of school that can just develop me, somewhere I can just see myself at home and just honestly be able to go there, put my head down and work, honestly.
Look, I talked about these schools. We talked about Florida, Texas A&M, Ohio State. I mentioned Alabama not giving up. I mentioned USC. But let's do something a little different. Instead of going through each one and breaking down the finalists, there's been so many rumors. I mean, you've had Twitter, social media going crazy and buzzing all week long. So you know what? The floor is yours. It is time for you to tell everybody where you're continuing your academic and athletic career.
Yes, sir. I've been truly blessed to be in this position, to choose from the great universities to continue my education. Before I announced the school, I'd like to thank my parents for instilling values in me, my coaches throughout this time, Coach Shelton, Coach Tank, just Coach Sam, to be able to pour into me throughout my whole process in school, and just my teammates, honestly, just they've been helping me throughout the way, get better every day in practice. So without further ado, that's my commitment to for the next 3 years to University of Florida.
All right, KJ. I know my man Mike White, national analyst, been raving about you for a very long time. This is a guy, Gabe Brooks, Hudson Standish, Andrew Ivins, all of our guys at 247 been raving about you. So tell everybody, what are you bringing to Florida?
Wait, can you say that again?
I was just saying, what can Florida fans expect from KJ Ford now that he's a Gator?
First and All-American. Just count on it, man. Y'all can put y'all bets in. First and All-American for sure.
What was it about Florida to tip the scales? Because I know this was very close. I know you were talking to USC, Alabama, and a few others. What tipped the scales? Why is Florida the pick for you?
Honestly, throughout the whole process, the relationships I built with Coach Napier, just the head man, be able to talk to him every day whenever I need to, and just him believe in me throughout the whole process,
How close was it behind the scenes? Were you really talking to a bunch of schools? Were you considering other options? Like, how did it all plan to play out behind the scenes?
It was a long process. I probably figured out where I was going right now, yesterday, honestly.
So there was no like silent commitment. You didn't make any decisions behind the scenes?
Nope.
Wow.
Yesterday.
Huge
Yesterday
win.
night.
More thing I want to ask you before you get out of here. You're one of the most well-known players across the country. I know there's a ton of people tuned in right now. You are now turning from recruit to recruiter. So how active are you going to be on social media to build this Florida class?
Oh, real active, just trying to get the best recruits at Florida, honestly. You're going to get everybody. So.
Well, you heard it here first. KJ Ford, thank you so much for committing with 247 Sports.
Yes, sir.
What a huge victory for the Gators. Like I said, Andrew Ivins, Hudson Standish, Gabe Brooks, everybody's been raving about this kid for a very long time. One of the top players in the country, a day one impact guy, huge win for the Gators. So that wraps it up. Like I said, we had 4 commitments. We wrapped it up with KJ Ford to Florida. We had Jordan Clay go to Baylor, Nick Reddish go to Notre Dame, Samari Matthews go to Texas. So huge, huge day here at 247 Sports. So be sure to like and subscribe. You are not going to want to miss what we have in store for us. So everybody watching at home, thank you so much, and we will see you next time.